This is the most fun thing I've ever done in my life.
Wait, are we on? We're ready?
We're on.
Quiet on set. Quiet on set, please. Quiet on set. It's freezing in here.
It is a bitch. Okay, let's first just talk about that we have absolutely no fucking idea what we're doing.
Literally zero.
First of all, the setup.
Like, do I look at the camera? No, I look at you because I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I think we've...
Right?
Right. The setup for this just took honestly, though, not that long.
I'm going to say I did jack shit.
She didn't do a thing at all.
I sat.
Honestly. Which is really
But that's
just...
okay.
But that's also just...
partnership. Right?
Yeah, our partnership, I think.
That's like all about partners.
You're the flourishing ideas, and I'm... And I am like the let's figure it the fuck out
like
girl.
Edit content, and you're just like, no, we're gonna just sit down and do it
up as we go. Yeah,
and that's kind of what we're doing. Because as our podcast, everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. Do you know how many times I heard that this week too?
Just like from people in general.
From people just being like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like work, they're like, no, everything's fine, and I'm like, dude, it's like a sign.
It is. And we've even had a couple of people be like, I've never related harder because this is like the story of the week that I'm having, the day that I'm having.
Because everything's fine.
Because everything's fine. When in fact,
nothing is
fine.
in
Fucking shambles. Yeah.
The world is not fine.
No.
But we all act like
but
it
we're gonna keep on keeping on. Okay,
so
well, I know we are. Well, everybody, welcome to Girl Everything's Fine. We can't believe that we're here and we're doing it.
And then we should have like a you know, like a little
something.
Little sound. I can't believe we're here.
I can't believe we're here either. I can't believe. You know what though? I can believe.
Let me just tell you how this happened.
Yeah. Let's start.
So you moved into this space.
Yes.
And you were like, we have a podcasting studio. Like, we're gonna have a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
100%.
Legit.
That's exactly
that was
how it happened.
And then this blossomed.
Well, I also think I think one of the main premises of the whole thing is that there's a lot of podcasts with people who have already made it in life and already have made a name for themselves, and it's easy for them to start.
Made it in ways though. Like, let's not.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, in a magnitude of that's celebrity fame or whatever whatever it may be. But
agreed.
And I think once you've already made a name for yourself or have a brand for yourself or whatever it is, people are more inclined to listen to you because they're like, that's
100%.
Whatever. We're doing it on the reverse. We're
But I feel like we have a lot to say. And I feel
100%.
like people can relate to the you pretend like the world is everything's okay, but really there's a lot of shit that goes on.
Yeah.
And that's what we related on.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to be so good about this is it's not just people who've already made a voice for themselves talking about topics. It's people who are just like you and me and people
whoever else. Yeah.
Whoever else. I don't want to say normal people because I hate the term normal.
And we're not normal.
And we
are special
as not anywhere. If there's a spectrum of normal, I'm on a different entire entity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it's the best thing you could be is relatable, right? And so I just feel we're relatable galleys.
Yeah. So you got this podcast space. So I guess we should tell people who the fuck we are and why they would.
And why you would even give a shit to listen. Yeah.
Also, my father is literally going to be stop swearing. Stop swearing.
It's uncensored.
It's uncensored. It just comes out. I just have to say it.
That's the whole premise. We're removing the filter. We're saying what we have to say.
Yeah. And you may not like us.
You may not. And also, we're not wellness experts. I just also I want to.
Well, you have more wellness than
sure
I do. So
these are more just opinions and feels and
our life, our stories.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess we met at work. Yeah. I do marketing. Taylor is a nurse. And I'm I'm someone who doesn't sugarcoat. Hence this whole podcast, same with Taylor. But I also was just sharing my life and oh yeah, this or oh I had this or oh I did this. And Taylor texted me and was like, yo, let's get drinks.
No, let's clarify. What happened was she made a traumatic joke about a traumatic experience that she's had in life, which we'll dive into later. And I was like, there's something not well about this girl. I do the same thing. Let me reach out and connect. So I was like, hey, that was really sketchy what you said earlier. I'm with you. If you ever want to grab a drink, let's.
And then we did.
Grab a drink. Yeah.
And ended up basically had the same life growing up, but different. And then we were we could talk about this shit because obviously if we relate, more people are going to relate.
Yeah, 100%. And then again, we bond over, we're both in the fitness industry. So.
Yes. Yeah. I teach bar, yoga, sculpt.
I'm a cycle girly right now. More to come. We'll see.
Yeah, right? Like, I guess, like, tell us, would you take a class with us?
So
Because I would.
Yeah, no, you should.
Right?
Also,
Like-
we're thinking about doing a little combo fitness event to support the pod. So if you want to see that, let us know.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into like us, like our
Let's.
why,
Yeah, 100%.
like who we are. Do you want to take it first?
Sure. I mean, I've only actually been in, it's crazy that this is like the reality that we're living right now because I've only been in Chicago for what, like a year and a half.
Oh my God, I've known you since like you moved here.
And when I came here, like my plan was to never stay here. I came as like a travel nurse and with a bunch of my friends who are all still here. We were like supposed to be here for the summer and here we are. We love Chicago.
Drags you in.
It does. Chicago summer got us is really what the story is. But I kind of, and we've already gotten some questions just about like RN nursing life in general, so we can do like a whole thing about that. But basically, I was an ICU nurse for a very long time. It was my favorite thing to do. I was going to live and die on that hill. And then I started traveling during COVID, and I ended up with an opportunity to do a contract that wasn't necessarily ICU related anymore. It was still in the hospital outpatient setting, but it gave me a break from like what that life looked like. And then all of a sudden I was like, this is not a well life to be living. So I kind of transitioned out of this like high intensity critical care adrenaline field into preventative wellness. So then I got a job as a functional medicine RN after only begging. I think I slid into Jordan's like LinkedIn.
Did you? I think
Yeah,
you did.
like forever ago. And I was like, please give me this job. And then I like got on the forum and where you like request an appointment. And I was like, this is not a request for an appointment. I just want to work here.
Yeah, twice. I remember that because I'm not technically a recruiter. I do marketing, but also I do the recruiting. And I remember this girl just being like so eager. And I was like, she's an eager beaver. She slid into my DMs.
I did aggressively.
Yeah.
I actually looked at it the other day. I was like, hi, Jordan.
Really? Wait, I should look back. We'll share that in a story. Like for sure, have to share that because that's too funny. All right, and then met me, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and then we didn't really know each other actually for a long time. And then, like we said, we connected over.
Yeah, I think there was a long time where I was someone who was like, so backstory on me. I lived in New York. Now I'm in Chicago, born and bred in Chicago. Did a stint in New York, came back here. I mean, we both like lean into wellness. So I like loved that my job is wellness, but also like marketing. So it's the best of both worlds. And yeah, but I was someone who was like, I'm not becoming friends with my coworkers. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, that's so like nursing is different because I feel like with nursing, like everybody's friends. Like, you're all friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a shared space where like you can relate. It's very hard when you have people in your life that don't do what you do in the medical field and you go home and you can't even begin to like think about venting about it because everyone's like, I don't have any.
Right.
So like you get that
Totally.
relationship. And like, yeah, most of my best friends, especially like that I have now in life, like of course you have your few like hometown girlies, but like most of the people came from that. So I guess it is a little bit of a
work like in a very
trauma bonding.
young. Yeah, true. We'll get to that. But it's also like everybody's super young. So like it is like kind of fostering this like you all should be friends. Like you spend 8 hours with these people more than you do anybody else. But I think probably like 5 months ago is really when like I kind of dove in and was like, all right, like take that little guard off and like you can actually be friends with these people.
Yeah.
You know? And then that's kind of how everything happened.
Would you say that it's more challenging to put yourself out there like in the work environment to find friends or in the fitness environment to find friends?
Ooh. I think in work, it's a fine line between like in a management position too, it's a fine line between like, okay, like what can you say? What can't you say? What information can you take in and listen? What information can't you? So it's also like, okay, we have this to relate to, but also like we kind of maybe don't relate to about other things. Like think about some people we work with that's like, I don't have children right now. I'm not married. I don't know what it's like in your like phase of life. So like we're not really gonna like go grab drinks after work because like you have to pick up your kids and whatever. I think in the fitness world, there's all of this like code group fitness and like you'll make friends. You may, but also sometimes it's so awkward when the instructor's like, say hi to your neighbors. And you're like,
yeah.
you're like, oh my God, like I feel so awkward saying hi to my neighbor.
Uh-huh.
But I do think with group fitness, there is a way that you can like continue to go to that same class and you start to see the same people. And then you're like, wait, I know that girl.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce myself to her. I don't know. Like last night was Darius, my boyfriend. We'll get into that as well. But his 40th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And in my bar class on Monday, I was like, come celebrate Darius's birthday. This is where it is. A bar student came.
Oh,
So like, you know, like we weren't friends. We were like teacher student relationship, like supported each other on the gram, but like she came. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think? Like in your work, obviously you've made friends, but I think in the fitness industry, you can selectively.
Yeah, I think and I think there's a common misconception too that everyone in the fitness industry like has the same interests and like
Yes.
are the same personality and the same people, and it's like the bonding's easier over there. I would say no.
But
I think it's also not talked about how intimidating that industry is
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like when you first, especially when you first get into it, because like just back to like I haven't been an instructor for. I mean, I know you've done
Yeah.
and been for a very long time, but I've only been in the game for like a year now, and that was a result of me like just kind of being like, hello, like I'm interested in doing this. So I would say that I also have that type of personality. Not everybody has that type of
But
personality.
are you talking instructor or are you talking student?
I think kind of both. Like I've been in environments. I mean, I don't know. I guess I've in classes it's one thing. I remember like when I started my fitness journey like way back in the day, like the gym was an intimidating
Yeah.
thing. I think that's just being a woman on a weight
100%.
floor, which is I hate that, but that is just what
Well,
it
I
is.
think what's funny now is I'm seeing everybody with like a tripod and they're like filming
Yeah.
themselves. And I'm like, I'm looking at you, film yourself. Are you looking at me when I'm in the gym? And still to this day, and I've been instructing and working out for years, but it's like, I'm still like, oh shit, is someone looking at me? Is my form
Yeah.
wrong? Do I look okay? Do I look cute in the gym? Like, all
and it's
those
like
things.
I think about it when I go to the gym, like and just to like lift, let's say like not take a class, like I'm so zoned in on what I'm doing that I like something could break out right behind me and I wouldn't even be paying attention. But then when it's you're like, everybody's watching me do this like exercise
Yes.
wrong and that kind of thing. So I guess like it's an uncomfy zone either way. I think that like I started in classes, going to classes because it just felt more comfortable. I will say though, I have never like bonded with someone in a class and then continued to like be like fit buddies from there. You know what I mean? So like I've done it at work.
Yeah.
But I've never like gone to, if anything, I've had more connect to an instructor.
Yes.
And,
agreed.
you know, so when I first, I'm also from upstate New York and yada, yada. I lived in Rochester for a long time. And that was kind of where I started my fitness thing. And I had started going to this gym that offered strictly classes like all the way around. And one of the girls that worked there, she taught like 900 formats. She did it all. She was like one of my bigger inspos for actually like getting into doing that kind of stuff. But I remember like the way that I felt when she would like, yes, girl, or like follow me back
like,
on Instagram.
go Taylor. And you're like, oh my God, she said my
and
name.
I'm like, yeah. So I, like that. And I mean, I wouldn't say that her and I at this point are like friends, but like she reaches out to me every time to time and she's like so proud of you for like doing your thing. Like, so there is like something to be said about like relationships that come from that. I don't know that it's necessarily.
I mean, I
easier
think
than
all of this
working.
needs to be dissected like super deep.
Oh, 100%.
But I also think there's the sense of like, because you're a fitness instructor, you also know nutrition and like diet.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, girl, that's a whole other episode. But like, do not ask me for nutrition advice. Like, eat a balanced diet,
Yeah.
mindful eating.
Well, it's kind of
There's
like
my check.
Good day.
Go see someone else. Like, love you, but go see someone else.
Well, it's kind of like that in medicine too, right? Like I'm a nurse, but like my background's critical care. I can't tell you how many people have been like, "Can you look at this skin thing?" or like
Oh, I'm like, can you look at my full
an
labs and tell me
OBGYN
what's
like,
going on with me?
question, and I'm like, I think the vagina is the scariest place in the world. Like I'm not sure what to tell you. Consult a professional.
Literally an area that like I would be like, looks good. It's a solid vagina.
Keep on keeping on.
That's great. Okay, so we totally sidetracked
100%.
But-
We'll do 900,000
a
more times.
1,000 times. Today, as we like first come into this like podcast, and we're recording in September, we're launching in October. It's such a weird time, especially in Chicago, because Chicago becomes like it lights up in the summer. Like it is
For sure.
fucking lit. Everybody's out. We're thriving. And then we come into fall and it's like, all right, people are starting like cuffing season. And
Yeah.
like some people thrive in fall, but some people get to like seasonal depression and like they stay at home a lot.
Yep.
And so I think like we had talked about what should this episode be about and a little bit about just like that transition and how as two unfiltered girls who don't know everything, but like what are some things that we do during this transition of like time? For me, I mean, I think, you know, Darius, my partner, he really gets affected by like the seasons changing.
I think most people, I think most people do.
But on the talk, which is of course real life, they were like,
I was reading this study. I was watching a fucking TikTok. Yeah.
Exactly. And she was like, I thrive in fall. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I thrive in fall. Like apple picking, cute aesthetic, like love it for a picture. But then like everybody goes inside and I feel this like, oh, I have to go out. Like I have to go see people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I don't really want to. Like it's starting to get cold.
I know. Here's the thing though. Like I don't really want to see people anyways.
There's a few I do.
There's
a few that I'm like,
I do.
like, bitch, you're going to see me.
Yes.
So
I wouldn't say that I thrive in like the transition to fall because the darkness and the cold and all of that is like seasonal depression hits hard for me.
So what do you do?
think. I honestly, I'm such like an extroverted person and such like an outgoing like this and that person in my life is so go that like I honestly fucking love being alone. Like I
like
do.
you're recharged.
I do, yeah. Which I think like if you're an introvert or an extrovert, like it's actually like the opposite. Like you recharge by doing the opposite thing or something. Like there's for a long time I was like, I'm the most extrovert person ever. And then like I read about things and I was like, actually I love to be alone. So I don't even know like technically which category I fall
You're like
under.
extroverted introvert or whatever.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
But I get by in the beginning honestly pretty fine because I'm like, it's slow. I feel like life just kind of slows down a little bit, which is cool with me. But then I start to get to the point where it's like I'm getting up in the morning to go work out and it's pitch black. And then I'm going to work all day and then I'm getting out of work and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like.
That's depressing. It's depressing.
Yeah. And I don't think like we realize also like depression, especially seasonal depression, it can be mimicked by just like severe exhaustion and anxiety too. So I think kind of like figuring out like how to cope with those things, which like I'm by no means an expert because I'm not even sure that I've fully coped with anxiety or.
I feel like it's like, okay, yes, we know it's going to get dark in the morning. We know it's getting dark at night. I think that one of the hardest things is that like morning workout. And I'm not a morning workout girly. Like,
oh, I am.
They were like, I just got asked to teach at 6:30 and I'm like, oh, God, I'd have to wake up at like 5:30. Like that's not my jam. My jam is like.
But why aren't you a morning? Do you feel you perform better?
Listen,
later?
Should I get up in the morning and get my ass started?
Say you should?
Because I think when I do, I start the day and it feels amazing. But that's like not my schedule. I think honestly, if we want to go down a whole other avenue, this like work from home shit is like you're now living in your home. It's also your office.
Yeah. You
maybe work out at home. Like maybe you've got your like on-demand video and that's also your gym. That's like everything in one place. So I'm like, now I'm confused with the home, with the office, with the this, with the that. And I'm like getting out really helps. So like in the morning, I'm not inclined to like go leave and then come back home. And then also like, that's my office and home.
Right.
But I think if what I notice is I think it's one of those like habit changes right now, especially during the pandemic. I wasn't waking up and like getting my ass to the gym at 7 a.m. It's not my habit right now. And I think that that's the thing too, is like as these seasons change, it's like what habits do you want to build and how do you really focus on it? What makes you feel good and noticing that? Like what foods make you feel good? What activities make you feel good? Who makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Does recharging with a book make you feel good? Or does recharging with like some reality trash TV make you feel good?
Oh,
Can be both
100%.
too. But I feel like people forget that and then they lean into more of like this like sadness of like, well, it's the winter, I'm gonna lean sad versus like, wait, everything that I do during summer, I can still continue on. But your habit is to shell during the winter.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like, I'm not an expert, but I feel like there's something with that where it's like continuing on in the same things, like see those people, but also recharge and recharge in the ways that like make you feel good. I don't know. I think there's something with that, with like as the seasons change, keeping that.
Yeah, and I think that falls under like prioritizing your own like
Wellness.
habits, yeah, ahead
Yeah.
of time. Because like I'm sure some people will tell you like once I do slip into that sadness, like it's not something I pull myself out of. Like I live in that.
hard.
Yeah. So it's like I guess getting ahead of knowing what's coming with
Okay, and talking about
the season
fitness,
stuff.
what do you think about like accountability partners? Because I was thinking like, oh, with Darius, I'm like, we're getting up and we're going to GTX, which is like one of our favorite classes. Like we're doing it. We're doing it together. Like,
Do you feel you have to push Darius to like get his
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely the cheerleader. Like
Okay.
I'm like the rah-rah, let's
Was
go.
he a fitness guy before he met you?
Well, we met because of fitness.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
He took your yoga.
He was my student. Slid into the
Scandalous.
DMs. We'll get into that too. Just teasing all the tidbits. No, but during the pandemic, I think the pandemic either like made people healthier in the ways that they were like, all right, I'm home alone. Like, I guess I'm gonna
Yeah.
work out or whatever. And he was someone he's like, all right, I got time to work out. I'm at home. Like, I'm gonna do it. And then you get into real life and it's like the world opens up. You're like, wait, I want to socialize. I want to do this. I want to do that, whatever. And you get into like quote unquote unhealthy habits.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
I feel like I'm always the accountability fitness partner. Like, because I'm such in a routine of like, I'm up, it's early, I go. I got into like I think probably like an unhealthy fitness routine for a while where it was like I would miss a day and it would be gym guilt and then that kind of thing.
Well, that's a whole
other, which
I think also if you have an accountability partner that's making you feel gym guilt, then you're like,
then
goodbye.
you're like, yeah, no, thank you.
You're like,
So
goodbye.
yeah. And that's so am I like a great like if you need a motivator or someone to be like, be here and like I'm waiting for you and that kind of thing, 100%. I also like for many of my friends have been like, just come. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing at the gym. I'm like, come with me and like,
Or take a class.
like whatever it is. So I think it is, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. And like we got some comments about this through like Instagram when we were talking about stuff to talk about. People do say like, I'm awful at holding myself accountable. I fall off all the time. And I think the biggest key to not falling off or not like being true to your accountability partner, it's just not too. Everybody wants a quick fix and everybody wants to do it all right now at this time.
I hate quick fixes.
We hate quick fixes. But like, it's not, if you are like, I'm going to change every aspect of my lifestyle. I'm going to eat this way. I'm going to work out this way. My mental health.
You're setting yourself up to fail.
You're setting yourself up to fail if you try and do all that stuff. And like, another thing, and I think it's like Peter Attia or something, one of the like the big wellness MDs who like preaches on stuff, always like makes this comment that like we're so quick to take care of this, right? Like we're so quick to we're eating this and we're working out and it's skincare and it's this and that and the piece that we leave behind is this like your mental piece.
Totally.
And that's I think what screws you in the long run.
That's what I mean with like this summer to fall is like what is gonna make you not like physically, and we talked a lot about fitness here, but there's like a lot that to your point goes into here. Like I don't know, meditating for me is really hard, but when I do it I'm like,
oh my god, I'm the worst fucking meditator on the planet.
But I'm like, oh, that was like a nice 5 minutes. Maybe it's like your mask that you put on. What's that mask?
My red light mask.
Yeah, your red light mask.
We preach the red light mask.
You know? Like maybe it's that. Maybe it's an IV. I don't know what it is, but it's like whatever is going to like take care of you to like take seconds to recharge. And I think that it's not the recharging to like in your hole.
Yeah.
But it's like it is that reality trash TV, or it's like a moment to journal. Like one of the things I've started to do every night, obviously I skip some nights, but is like I just write down like what happened today that I was like really happy about. If there's something that's on my mind, like, oh, maybe like this person said something and that bothered me. Or maybe like, I don't know, something happened that I didn't like or I feel guilt about or I feel just icky about. I'll write it down to like release it from me. And then I write down like, what am I grateful for? 3 things.
Yeah.
And then I usually end with like an affirmation of how I want to wake up in the morning. And that's it. And I like actually really like it. Obviously journaling's not for everybody. But I actually really, really have found that like it takes me less than 5 minutes. So I'm not a big like, dear diary, here's what happened.
Yeah.
Like I wish I was sometimes. But I just write those 3 things and I'm like, it really just kind of is like, my day's done, close the book, and then I can watch trash TV or read a book or whatever it is. But I like it.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I had originally started like my therapy journey, that was something that when I finally found, I mean, because finding a therapist that you want to be with is a whole other thing. But when I finally found someone that I was like, this is my bitch, she was like, journaling exercise, and I was like, this bitch thinks I'm gonna go home and write down like it
Okay,
wasn't
but you
for
can do it so
me.
easy now
No,
on
no,
your
no,
phone.
for sure. But it wasn't. My point is that I was like, absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a journal girly. Like I also
So how
was
then,
not a
if you're not a
feelings
meditator,
girly.
you're not a journal.
I'm a psychopath. That's unwell. No, I'm just kidding. The point is,
actually,
the difference between Jordan and I. She's all love, light, positively, and she's like, I wrote down my feelings and I meditated and I did all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm strung out and I don't know what I'm doing.
I am pretty fucking crazy as well.
Yeah, no, you are.
Like, let's just say, like, I think you're crazy. I might party a little more than you. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I partied back in.
I'm 34 and I still stayed out till 12:30 on Wednesday. Although it was my boyfriend's birthday, and that's not always typical.
I'm like, my friends make fun of me because I'm like, it's 8:15, you guys. I gotta get in bed.
Typically 9 o'clock, I'm in bed.
Yeah,
but like I still know
nothing good happens after 9:30. Oh no, so do I. But my problem is once I turn it on, I can't turn it off. So that's why we gotta keep it. We gotta keep it under wraps. Or else it's not.
But that's like also in the winter, like let's turn on a little bit.
Let's turn on a little bit, yes. But okay, to my point about the journaling. Rewind. I was like, I hard stood was like not for me. And then I started participating in like little exercises. Honestly, I think when I got to like a breaking point and it was like, I need some fucking relief and like nothing I'm currently doing is helping me. So I do from time to time, like I have an anxiety journal and all that stuff that to me before sounded like floofy bullshit. And now I'm kind of like a believer of that sort of thing. So I think like the bigger take home too is like maybe push yourself to do something that makes you like a little uncomfy in the time where you're coming up into this transition where it's like, it's about to get dark and spooky and like
we all know it's coming. Like it's not like oh my God.
Yeah. So how do you get ahead of that in your own like wellness? Is it like you hate the journaling thing, you give it a try? Is it like also don't flip your entire life? I mean, I tell like patients this all the time. I'm like, don't start running tomorrow if you fucking hate running because you're not. Don't do that. So like don't start doing something that you're like, this is like, I loathe this activity or this thing entirely.
Totally.
But if it's something that makes you uncomfortable and it's just not your day-to-day normal choice, maybe.
Also, one of the other things too is like all of these Facebook groups or like Instagram, whatever, they like all want to get together in any time, which I think is like, I don't know. When I was younger, when I was like 25, I was like, no one wants to hang out with me. Like, how do I make a friend? But all of these people like want to do stuff together.
And I just that's the new age of like social media being for good. Right? Like we've lived so long under this social media umbrella where it's like it's terrible because everything you're looking at, which I mean I still do it constantly and all the time, especially now that like we're jumping into this world of like this very popular world of people who know what the fuck they're doing and we clearly don't. Like it is
okay, but how long can we talk about the fact that one, we don't know what we're doing, but how long it takes us to write a caption?
Oh my God, you guys, listen, I have this note. I have this, you're not a girly if you don't have a running note in your phone in the notes app of like possible captions that you're going to use for the future. None of them apply to this venture that I'm on. Literally none of them apply.
Oh my God. It's like, okay, we should say this. And then it's like, wait.
No, we tweak our captions like nothing.
Say like this first instead.
Yesterday, we posted a post yesterday, and like you sent me a thing, and then I sent it back, and then you sent me a thing, and then I sent it back.
Sounds better. No, but I'm going to delete this. But like, it actually looks like this. Like, it's so different, just like texting, and then you put it with the photo, and you're like, oh, just
the stress. It sounds so stupid, but I'm just like, how do they have people? They have people, professionals.
Yeah, but like
when we make it in life, we're going to hire some professionals.
To all,
but
yes, power to all the like
right now
girlies that like figure out this like what to say on the reel and then in their post and all the stuff. It's like it's exhausting.
It's an exhausting
because
game.
It's again like how you come off to other people, and we have a certain way that we want to come off, real, uncensored, raw.
Yeah, I think we just want to come off as us. You know what I mean? And that falls under this whole like social media toxicity.
So maybe we should add a little fluff because I'm the fluff.
You are the fluff. She'll send me things and I'm like, it's too fluff. It's too fluff.
She'll be like, no. Can we take that out? And I'm like, oh, okay.
If there's butterflies and rainbows coming off of the words, I'm like, it's not
like this like heart emoji, you know, like with your hands.
Yeah.
Let's add that in.
No. No.
Like, no.
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 We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, no, but it's the social media game is but okay, back to the point. These gatherings that are happening with like groups and stuff. People
Yes.
are doing them for like
The good.
the good. Yeah, it's like it's like a crazy, I mean, Chicago has one for girls in general, and it's like people that are, I'm moving here, I'm from here, I don't know anybody. And like I'm not going to lie to you, like years ago when I was a different non-mature person, I would have been like, this is so fucking stupid and that's so fucking weird. And the fact that you need to
Weird.
go to a Facebook group to get friends, like,
I agree with
you know,
it's
it's like such an asshole thing, but it's true. It's
I
kind of like,
probably wouldn't have been like, I wouldn't have responded to anybody.
No,
I would have
no, no,
looked
no.
and been like, no.
no, like it's weird that you're doing that.
Like, why can't you just like make a friend elsewhere? Where the fuck are you
Where
gonna
the
make friends?
fuck are you going to make friends?
Like, we just talked about like work, maybe, like the gym, maybe. So like, should I sit outside and be like, who wants to be my friend?
Yeah, and also if you're just not that person, not everybody needs to be that person to put themselves out there either. If you're not that person, then like,
Right.
how do you?
Okay, here was my idea, because people say the same thing about dating. My
Yeah.
idea with friends too was like, you come in, it's like, so I have 10 friends, let's say, and you invite 10 friends.
You don't have 10 friends.
I don't. I don't, but I'm saying hypothetical.
Okay, right. Yeah, I'm with you.
I bring 10 friends, you bring 10 friends. That's
Mhm.
like 22 people in a room. No, that's, yeah.
Are we including us?
Yeah, 22 people
Math.
in a room.
Amazing.
Also, like, I was really, really good at math. My mom would be very disappointed. Sorry, Mom.
She was good enough at math to have nothing to do with math right now. That's how good
My
she
mom
was.
did want me to go into accounting. Anyway, side note. So you bring your friends, and then like at every table, there's like like questions. So like the
Oh, I
questions,
love a question game.
like thought provoking.
What are those games? You get the card and you flip it over and it like makes you think about your feelings, or it's
Right.
like, yeah, no, I'm
And
totally
now,
into
so
those.
now, like I'm sitting at a table with like Jesse, and the two of us are like getting into a deep conversation
Such
about
a
it.
random ass name off your head, Jesse. Me and
I like it.
Jesse.
Jesse kind of sounds like she may be a little bitchy.
really
Yes,
She
you don't
might
think
be.
Jesse would be a little bitchy?
is she known as her government given name is Jessica and she's Jessie? Because then yes, if her government
Yes.
given name is Jessie, then no, she's a
what?
she's a soft little.
No, her government name is Jessica.
Okay, government given
But
Jessica
now-
goes by Jessie.
But now I wouldn't want to talk to
Totally.
Jesse. But now I'm like almost quote unquote forced to talk to Jesse because it came to this, and now we're having a thought provoking conversation with. Don't steal my idea, because maybe everything's fine. Will launch my friend party. Taylor's like,
Everyone watching this is like, we're like,
the
we're
comfy.
absolutely-
This is like the cutesy, comfy.
It is, but that's
It's mindful and demure as well.
Don't get me started on that. We can't even. We literally can't even. But but this is what makes good friendships, right? Is like you're that girly and I'm not that girly.
Yes.
And I need a little
Yes.
soft floofy
Right?
in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. But I don't perhaps we'll hold that event. I don't
Okay, fine. Like, let us know though. Would you come? Because like I think all of you would.
I'm not sure.
All 20,000 of our listeners will. I think you have to be a little delusional though.
No, I'm 100%
When you start a
delusional.
business, like I
100%
think you have to just like
I'm walking around in my life like I've already done it. I've already made it. Like I'm just waving to my fans as I walk by. Like
Do you know how many times I've been like, paparazzi, go. Please don't get that angle with me.
No, you have to. I mean, it's manifesting, right? Like we're in the time. Like manifesting is such a thing.
Okay, but I think you have to manifest and put in the work.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can't sit home and just be like one day.
But I think these people, like, I think there's some people who are like, I'm manifesting. And it's like, well, if you just think about it or journal, write it down, like, that's really great. But you have to take the steps to, like, do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're a good, like, pusher. Like, and not in a bad way, but you're like, okay, so when are we meeting and, like, what are we doing? And Taylor also, I'm looking at, like, our pieces of paper, personal goals. And every time we meet, she's like, okay, what's your personal goal for the week? And it has nothing to do with the podcast, but it's just like us. And I'm like, oh, wait, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think that like you become your best self and achieve all your best things when you empower the people around you to be their best self. And like some people it's well received by, like for sure. I've been in a bunch of situations where like I've pushed people to like do more, be more, or expand on their potential and stuff. And sometimes they're like, yes, exactly what I needed. And sometimes I've done that and people have been like, bitch, get the fuck off.
Yeah.
So like it just depends on.
But I think you also
factors.
look at things as like, I want you to be your best so I can be my best, but you being your best doesn't compete with my best. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, it's not like we're competing for a spotlight. It's like, no, but like we both have a place on the stage. You know what I mean by that?
I think the most unattractive thing you can be is somebody who doesn't wish someone else success.
Because they're jealous or envy.
Or it's just, whatever the reason is, it doesn't even have to be like personal. It could just be like you're not the type of person who wants to watch other people succeed if you yourself aren't succeeding.
Totally.
And I think that's such an unattractive quality about somebody. Like that's such a turn off. That's not somebody I want to be friends with. That's not somebody I want to do business with. Yeah, for sure. And like that was
my comfy, like cutesy fluffiness. Like it's people.
Yeah, I'm like fucking asshole.
I feel like it's like it is like I feel like that comes from people just being like, wow, like they're succeeding, like why are they succeeding, versus being like, dude, that's really really cool. And like I feel like those people, like I always reach out to people and I'm like, how did you do what you're doing? Like, what did you do?
Yeah. And have you been in that situation when you've reached out to someone and asked them a question as far as like, how did you get here? What did you do? What did you research? What did you, and okay, when I say this, I don't mean not doing your own work to research 100%. And like you have to do your own shit. People who are just like hand me the info bother me more than ever. But when you've reached out to someone, have you ever gotten that like they don't respond or they just kind of brush it off? Because that's happened to me. Like I've reached out to someone being like, hey, how did you get started with like X, Y, and Z? And I've gotten like left on red. And it's been somebody who's been like close to either someone in my life or whatever, where it would have been brought up like, hey, did you never answer Taylor?
Do you know how many times I'll be like, oh, like especially in fitness and like wanting to build my own like online platform and shit like that. I've been like, okay, I'm going to email and send my resume like Sweat Kayla. I feel like I've like emailed Kayla Instanese a million times. I'm like, I should definitely be a sweat trainer. Like, hey girl, it's me. Like, and then I'm
don't
like,
know why you haven't called me.
There's my delusion, but I'm also like, dude, maybe she doesn't answer. Whatever, that's cool. But like, I've admired her. Whatever. I think people have done it with me too, where they're like, can we chat about like what you've done? And I'm like,
yeah.
You want to know what I've done? I'm like, girl, sure. But I feel like that's like really flattering too, to be like I always think about it in the sense of like people want jobs where I'm working. And I'm like, okay, great. Like that's the more the merrier in that sense. And I'm happy to give that to you. I'm happy to give you my advice of whatever. Like that's kind of like being a manager too to people who are like one of my old employees was like, Jordan, you did my mentor.
I hate that you're using that you're manager. I think you should like leader is better.
Okay, leader.
Yeah, because manager makes it seem like.
Well, I feel like though when you're quote unquote like a manager and you have people to manage, it becomes this like they're not your friends anymore. Like it sucks to say that because it's like I actually really like you, and though I don't have anybody reporting to me anymore, but when I did, like I do feel like I was their leader and like a mentor more. Now I am friends with them now that I don't work there anymore, but they're like, you've been the best mentor for 5 years. And I'm like, I didn't know that I could have that impact on people. But that's where like when you do reach out to people and they help you, you're just like, whoa, that's awesome. And that's where this whole like collective coming together versus competition, I think like there is becoming a lot more of that. But then I do think there's the like, I don't wish other people well. And those people, I think, are the ones that are like sitting on the sidelines and are like, I want what she has, but they're not going to work for it.
And it's already fucking hard enough to like be a woman and like be in business and be like all this stuff. So to have another woman like not wish you well or not piggyback off of like your success or want you to be, you know, like I can't get down. I can't get down with the girlies that are like trying to stunt everyone else's growth. I think it's gross.
I agree with you. I think there's a lot more than we think too. I mean, I think truthfully, like people are going to have a hard time with this conversation, you know, being like, wait, because you have to really look at yourself and be like, wait, am I that person? Am I not that person? Like, what kind of person am I? What kind of person do you want to be? Because you can always change.
Yeah.
I always say in yin, like hitting these poses and like sitting with them and sitting in that like uncomfy place, like having those uncomfy conversations is where you grow and you change and like you evolve as a human, both physically and emotionally. Is like when you sit and you kind of like examine those uncomfy places is where change happens.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. And I mean, that's another motto to live by. And
I know. Thanks to yoga.
she's printed it on a fucking greeting card. It'll be coming your way soon.
Merch.
We are not coming out with merch that has like positive, inspirational fucking quotes on it. So if anyone is looking,
It'll be like tiny. Maybe on the tag. How cute would that be on the tag? Come on. It can say I'm a badass bitch, and then on the inside, well, that's kind of inspirational. Whatever.
there's no
Everything's
inspiration
fine.
to be
And
had.
then on the tag, it's like Jordan's bit of inspiration, and Taylor's like crossed it
Taylor
out.
only let Jordan have 3 inches of inspiration.
It's like no. But also, we have talked about merch, like cute merch, though, not like
No, we love merch.
crappy merch.
No, we love merch. We're gonna do it all, you guys. I don't think you understand.
I mean, with that,
the delusion.
like,
I am delusional Barbie.
I think I'm like
I'm living
positive-
my best
no,
delusional
I'm not
Barbie
really
side.
positive
self
Barbie Barbie. I think I'm cheerleader Barbie, but like not cheerleader. Like back in the day, like I don't know. I think I have to think about what Barbie I am because I had so many growing up. I'm positive inspiration Barbie. I'm yoga Barbie.
Ew, it's giving me the ick.
Even the way that I say it.
Yeah, it's too much ick for me. No. All right.
Episode 1, like check.
Check, I think. I mean, I think we were all over the fucking place and we will reel this in. But it was kind of like we were just going to let it roll.
I think also that's kind of who we are. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like, I think the thing too is like, we want to know what everybody wants to hear from us. But I think we kind of dabbled in all the like areas of quote unquote expertise. I don't want to say we're experts, but like what we talk about is like what we know.
I think you're an expert in your own experience.
That's what I mean though.
So-
like, that's like we talked about where like what we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, this is what should our sign off be?
I think our sign off is
Do everything's fine. She hates me.
no, I don't.
I'm just kidding. She loves me.
I don't. But who would I be if I pretended like you weren't driving me nuts? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Love you.
Love you. All right. Let
Peace.
us know
Peace, love, and
what you guys
keep
wanna
staying
hear from
fine.
us. Yeah.
Cheers.
Girl,
Everything's fine.
everything's fine.